Now, before we get into the video, I want to let you guys know about Pickswise.com. Pickswise is the home of sports picks and predictions. You can find the latest college basketball picks every game for every day, and they will give you a free pick for every single March Madness game once the tournament starts, and they'll be able to load in their picks right here. They will give you reasoning, sound reasoning from expert handicappers, from expert analysts. They feature the very best of the college basketball handicappers, and especially as it gets closer to March Madness, be sure to check them out and be sure to bet better with Pickswise. Sup guys, it's Alex here, and welcome to the March 3rd edition of the Bracketology update. I will not be coming out with one tomorrow. I'll be doing the next one on the 5th, which is Friday. But man, I just had to do it today because there were two really important games that happened yesterday. One was the potential game of the year with Baylor getting a huge overtime road victory over West Virginia. That was just a fantastic game all around, right up there with the Michigan-Ohio State game for the classification of game of the year so far, at least from the ones that I've watched. Maybe there's a couple lower ones that I'm just not thinking about at the time. But the other game that I wanted to talk about too is Illinois beating Michigan. I can't remember. I think it was on the road too. I may be wrong about that. I just can't remember for some reason. But Illinois just destroyed and picked apart Michigan last night without Ayo Dosunmu, which gives me tons of confidence in my Illinois pick. I have been behind Illinois basically the entire season, even when you guys were telling me they suck, even when it was like they were getting overseeded as like a 2 or something like that. I have stuck with them thick and through whatever the phrase is. But it makes me so happy to see that they're looking really good even without Dosunmu. It just gives me even more confidence for when he comes back. But before I kind of take a look here at Jerry Palm's Bracketology, Joel already did update it for today, but there wasn't really a whole lot of change, and I just wanted to talk about Jerry Palm's a little bit more. I want to tell you guys that if you if you type in Excel bracket into Google, the first one that pops up here is from the vertex42.com. That is what I use to create my templates. I just download that template, update for the teams that are in the Bracketology, and just fill it out that way. I can't add it into the description below just because it's a document link and not like a website link. But yeah, that's how you create your own bracket. You can make your own videos and stuff like that, do it that way. Also wanted to mention the 6,000 subscriber giveaway, which I mean, it looks like we're gonna hit it. The giveaway is if we hit 6,000 subscribers by March 14th, which is Selection Sunday, I will be giving away either a t-shirt for your favorite team or a $25 gift card to whatever. We'll figure it out with the winner. But yeah, if we hit 6,000 subscribers, I will be doing that giveaway. Might do another one if we hit 7,000 subscribers by March 14th. I mean, heck, by Friday, we may hit the 6,000 one. Then I'll be doing these little previews before my bracket picks as the 7,000 subscriber giveaway. We'll kind of see what happens with that. But how you enter is subscribing to the channel, liking this video, turning post notifications on. Take a screenshot of that, send it over to @AlexPrice24 on Instagram, where you can follow me and DM me the screenshot of you being subscribed. And you'll be entered in the giveaway. I'll send you a message saying like, thanks for watching, you're entered, all that fun stuff. Details on how to enter are in the description of this video. And yeah, let's go ahead and take a look here at Jerry Palm's Bracketology. There is some stuff I want to talk about. Namely, I mean, look at this. He has Clemson as a 4 seed. I don't know. I'm sorry, Clemson fans, if you're watching this, but I don't know in what world you can say that Clemson's a 4 seed. Their resume is not good. I mean, they are like a high or a low end 6, maybe high end 7 to me, but in no way do they deserve to be a 4 seed. Also, if we take a look over here, where is it? He has Colorado as a 9 seed. Joe Lenardi has him as a 5 seed. That is a 4 seed line difference. Colorado is severely underseeded here in this bracket. I think Colorado personally is like a 6 seed to me, but I mean, that's just kind of picking and choosing my spots. Loyal Chicago here as a 12 seed in Jerry Palm's Bracketology. They are safely in the tournament, in my opinion, even if they lose in like the first round of the Missouri Valley Conference or whatever, maybe second round if they do buys in that conference. I don't think that they'll miss the tournament at all. I think they're like an 8-9 seed or something like that, not a 12, which is just crazy to me that he has them as a 12 right there. And yeah, those are just 3 main ones that I wanted to bring up, just taking a very high level look at his Bracketology. Last 4 in are North Carolina, VCU, Drake, and St. Louis, which he has St. Louis as the last team in. Joe Lenardi doesn't even have them in his next 4 out, I don't think. St. Louis, I mean, they're looking decent right now. They didn't play a ton of games. I mean, 13-5 is a pretty good record, but they don't really have any next level wins. The A10 has just been beating up on itself the entire season. Just look at like Davidson and Richmond, and there was one other team that I was thinking of, Dayton maybe even. I mean, St. Bonaventure's looking pretty good, but we'll kind of see what happens with that. Force for out are Boise State, who had a horrible quad 4 home loss last night to Fresno State. That is not a good look for them. They fell pretty far. They looked to be safely in before that loss because, I mean, it was assumed that they would beat Fresno State at home, but they did not. Then we have Seton Hall, Stanford, and Syracuse. So before I go ahead and make my predictions here for this Bracketology, Jerry Palm's March 3rd Bracketology, the food item that we are going to choose for today is something that I had to eat last night. We are going to go... You guys are going to probably make fun of me for this one, but we are going to go with... You ready for this? We are just going to go with Fruit Gushers. Last night I did not have a safe dinner, but we're going to comment Fruit Gushers below. I think I've done fruit snacks in the past, but freaking Fruit Gushers are absolutely amazing. Had them for dinner last night, just working until like 8 p.m. I just wasn't hungry for dinner. That's just a little look into my life there. But yeah, comment Fruit Gushers if you're watching at this point in the video. It's like 6.5 minutes in or something like that, which means we need to get into this Bracketology here. I have been talking for way too long. You guys just want to know my picks. You don't care about me talking beforehand. So let's go ahead and get into the picks. We're going to have Gonzaga beat the winner of NC A&T and Prairie View A&M, obviously. I think San Diego State can beat Rutgers. I'm off the Rutgers train, as I mentioned in yesterday's Bracketology. I think UC Santa Barbara could beat Texas if they're matched up there, but I do not think that they can beat Purdue, and I do think that Texas can beat Winthrop. Then we're going to go with Georgia Tech pulling off the upset here over Missouri. Georgia Tech, I watched that ending against Duke. They almost threw that game away, but Georgia Tech is a team that has been trending upwards. Missouri has been trending downwards. I think Georgia Tech can pull off the 11-6 upset. And then we're going to go with Villanova here, moving on past Abilene Christian. I think Wichita State could pull off the 10-7 over Tennessee. Tennessee is not looking very good over these last like 10 or 11 games. And then Iowa will beat Eastern Washington. Then we're going to have Gonzaga moving on to the Sweet 16, along with Purdue, I think, with the 5/4 can beat Texas. Then I'm going to go with Villanova beating Georgia Tech and Iowa beating Wichita State. Then we're going to have Gonzaga moving to the Elite Eight over Purdue, along with Iowa moving on past Villanova, which sets up Gonzaga versus Iowa in the Elite Eight, 2 top 8 teams in college basketball. I do want to apologize to all you Iowa fans. I did speak wrongly yesterday when I said it was a clear top 3 in the Big Ten with Illinois, Michigan, and Ohio State. I didn't realize Iowa was right up there, and they're even above Ohio State in the Big Ten standings. I misspoke. I was right up there in that top tier, maybe even above Ohio State. I mean, they did just go on the road and beat Ohio State this past week. I was right there, but they will fall to Gonzaga. I'm just going to go ahead and throw that out there. Unless Illinois somehow falls to a 2 and is in Gonzaga's region, I don't see Gonzaga falling before the Final Four. So then we're going to have Baylor moving on here. They're now the number 2 overall seed after Michigan lost last night, and they got the big road win over West Virginia. Maryland will beat UCLA. Texas Tech will beat the winner of St. Louis and Drake. Then we're going to go with a 13-4 upset in Toledo over Clemson. As I mentioned, I think Clemson is overseeded. Toledo is looking really good as I want to say they're the MAC representative. I think that they could pull off the 13-4 classic upset. Then we're going to go with Florida beating the winner of VCU and North Carolina. Arkansas moving on past Belmont. Colorado State, I think, can pull off the upset over Wisconsin. Wisconsin is just, I don't really know what to think of them right now. They can't really beat any top teams, can't really beat any upper mid-tier teams. I think they're right for an upset. I think 7's a good seed for them, but I think Colorado State could pull off the upset there. Then Ohio State will beat UMBC. Baylor will handle Maryland here. Then we're going to go with Texas Tech over Toledo. Arkansas beating Florida, and then Ohio State here moving on past Colorado State, so we're going to have the top 4 seeds. Moving on to the Sweet 16 in this region, then Baylor will beat Texas Tech. I love Texas Tech, but I do think that Baylor is going to be beating them. I think those 2 teams play this weekend, or maybe Thursday or something like that. I'm pretty sure they play. I just can't remember when they do. Then I'm going to go with Arkansas here, moving on past Ohio State. Arkansas is one of the hottest teams in college basketball right now. I mean, they won last night 101-73 over, I think it was South Carolina. But I think they've won like their last 9 SEC games and 10 out of their last 11 overall games, with the only loss being to Oklahoma State, which at this point is not a bad loss at all. And then we're going to go with Baylor here. Moving on to the Final Four out of this region. I know yesterday I picked Arkansas to beat Baylor, but that was assuming that Baylor was not to their pre-COVID pause selves. They proved me wrong last night against West Virginia. They look to be back. I think Baylor can move on out of that region. Then we're going to have Michigan here moving on past James Madison. Connecticut, with James Bouknight being back, I think will be able to beat LSU. Then I'm going to go with an upset pick here with Western Kentucky and Charles Bassey over Virginia. You guys know, if you've been watching these bracketologies, that West Virginia is basically my favorite. I don't remember what I said there. Western Kentucky is my favorite upset pick for the NCAA tournament this year. I think that they could easily beat Virginia along with Charles Bassey. There being a potential first-round pick. He'll be able to handle down inside against Jay Huff. Then Oklahoma State and Cade Cunningham will beat UNC Greensboro. Virginia Tech will fall to Michigan State here. I think Michigan State could pull it off here. They beat Illinois and Ohio State in back-to-back games. I know they did just lose to Maryland, but then they followed up with a win against Indiana last night. I think if Michigan State can make the tournament, I think they could make a run, or not maybe a run, but maybe just get a couple wins in the tournament. Then we're going to go with Houston beating South Dakota State. USC, I think, could beat Xavier, and then Alabama will beat Grand Canyon. Then we're going to go with Michigan moving on to the Sweet 16, along with Oklahoma State and Cade Cunningham over Western Kentucky. Then Houston, I think, with Quentin Grimes, will be able to move on past Michigan State. And then I'm going to go with an upset pick here. I'm going to go with 7-seed USC over Alabama. Usually there's one or two top 2 seeds that don't make the Sweet 16 every year, and I have been kind of quieting a little bit on Alabama. Their offense just hasn't been clicking the way it was in January and early February. They haven't been averaging over a point per possession, and I think 4 of their last 5 games. And overall, just their shooting percentages are coming down, and that's really what had propelled them into the top 10 and to a top 2 seed. Is their shooting. And I think USC's defense, along with Evan Mobley dominating down low, I think they could get the upset victory over Alabama in the second round. But then for a spot in the Elite Eight, we are going to go with Michigan here moving on past Oklahoma State, and then Houston moving on past USC, which sets up Michigan and Houston here in the Elite Eight. And I am going to go with Michigan. I think Michigan can get the victory there. I think they're a fantastic team. Only lost twice this year. I think they're easily a Final Four contender. And then we go over here to Region 4 with Illinois moving on past Texas State. Colorado, I think, can beat Louisville there, especially if Malik Williams isn't back in time for the tournament. Then we're going to go with Loyola Chicago pulling off the classic 12/5 upset. As I mentioned at the top of the video, Loyola Chicago is criminally underseeded right now as a 12, according to Jerry Palm. They can easily get the victory there. Then Kansas will beat Liberty. Oklahoma, I think, can beat St. Bonaventure, along with Florida State beating Navy. BYU, I think, can beat Oregon, and then West Virginia will beat Siena. Then I'm going to go with Illinois here, moving on to the Sweet 16 over Colorado. Kansas, I think, can beat Loyola Chicago here. Then I'm going to go with Florida State beating Oklahoma, and then West Virginia moving on past BYU. Then we're going to have Illinois and Kansas in the Sweet 16. That's a fantastic Sweet 16 matchup, and I am going to go with Illinois moving on past Kansas, and then Florida State and West Virginia, 2 teams that could easily make the Elite Eight. I am going to go with West Virginia. They just look to be a more complete team at the moment. They were fantastic in that game against Baylor last night. I think they could get the job done. But that sets up Illinois and West Virginia here in the Elite Eight. I believe that Illinois would win this 75 out of 100 times. But the issue here is that I can't put 4 number 1 seeds in the Final Four. That hasn't happened since, I think, 2008, where all number 1 seeds have made it into the Final Four. Illinois is probably my favorite, but I mean, it's just the way these regions shook out. I don't see Gonzaga, Baylor, or Michigan losing before the Final Four. I think West Virginia could pull off the upset here because, I mean, history has spoken. We haven't had 4 number 1 seeds in the Final Four in like 12 or 13 years. I'm going to go with West Virginia. I hate putting West Virginia in here just because I believe that Illinois is the better team and they should be in the Final Four, but it's just the way that this bracket shook out. I think West Virginia can beat Illinois right there, especially if Iota Nsuma's not back. I hate doing that because you guys know how much I believe in Illinois, but it's just I have to align myself with history. I got to go with at least one non-number 1 seed in the Final Four. I hate to do it, but it's just the way that this bracket shook out. Then we're going to go with Gonzaga here, moving on past West Virginia. And then I think that Baylor and Michigan, those 2 teams are neck and neck, but I am going to go with Baylor there. Michigan just didn't show up to play last night. Baylor showed up to play last night. Both teams Baylor only has the 1 loss this season. Then Michigan has 2 losses now. I'm going to go with Baylor moving on to the national championship game. I think I already clicked it and kind of spoiled that there. But that sets up Gonzaga and Baylor, long thought to be the 2 best teams in college basketball, though obviously Michigan and Illinois have caught back up to them. I think that Gonzaga will end up winning the national championship. I'll put them back in the championship. I haven't had them here for a couple of weeks now. I'm going to have them being the national champions this year. So there we have it. Thank you guys for watching this bracketology video. I know it's a bit of a long one, but thanks for sticking with me. I probably should cut down the pre-bracket predictions part of the video. But yeah, that's just the way it should go. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you enter the 6,000 subscriber giveaway, and I will see you all later.